Hi, I'm Stan Wilson, and this is an abused kitchen knife. Not a very expensive one, but you can see it's dull. And we're going to go through a little quick walkthrough of how I'm going to put a quick edge back on this so I can actually cut something with it. Sharpening a knife is basically two stages to it. First stage would be honing, which is removing the metal, refining the edge, and getting those two bevels to meet at the proper angle. Mm-hmm. When you do that, you're creating a very fine wire edge along the edge of the blade. After we get that bevel established and that to the proper grit, whatever grit we need to stop at, then we're going to strop it. And basically stropping is going to remove that wire edge and slightly polish out the bevel. Give you a nice clean edge that will actually cut something.
Yeah. Okay. And when would you want to use a finer grit compared to a coarser grit?
That's really going to be a matter of personal preference, what you want that knife to do.
Okay.
You know, personally, I like in the kitchen, I like a little toothier edge.
Yeah.
I don't really, for me, I don't really like a really finely polished edge. Now, if I was going to use a straight razor, yeah, I want that polished edge, and I want that thing to be so sharp that a hair drops across and cuts it.
Yeah.
But for what this is going to be used for, kind of rough work in the kitchen,
yeah,
this is going to be plenty good.
Okay, so you're going to use a very coarse grit.
I'm going to leave it a little bit toothier.
Okay.
I'm not going to make a real shallow bevel to it.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave it a little steeper.
Okay.
So it's going to be a little bit more robust when I hit the cutting board. It's not going to roll that edge over too much.
Yeah.
So now if it was a sushi knife, I'd want a fine bevel, very, very shallow, very highly polished. So when you take that raw fish, it just slices these paper thin pieces off.
Yeah.
But when you're doing that, you're not banging it against the cutting board. That's a real delicate edge.
Yeah.
So the type of edge is really going to depend on what you're going to use it for.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. We're going to put a quick edge on here. I'm going to use my belt grinder to do this. This is a Trizac A45, which is, I don't know, I think it's like a 240 grit belt.
Yeah.
And as I showed you before, this edge has been abused. It's dull. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the belt sander to put an edge on this. The most important thing is once you pick an angle, to maintain that angle all the way across on all the passes. So let's make this edge cut. I can still see a little bit of a flat spot from where I intentionally abused it, but it's getting better. Now the angle you put on here and how fine of a belt you go is going to depend largely on what you want to use it for. Mm-hmm. I like a little toothier edge for a kitchen knife, especially this one. So I'm going to stop right there. I've got a little wire edge on the edges, so now we're going to go ahead and just give this a quick stropping and we'll see what it cuts. Alright, we've done our quick sharpening on the grinder, which would be basically the same thing you do if you were honing it on a stone. You're removing the metal, straightening out the edge, getting rid of any flat spots. What we're going to do now, we're going to strop it. We're going to work that little wire edge that's created, and we're just going to work it off on the strop here. And you can strop it on this is a leather strop, an old barber strop. You can strop it on canvas, denim, newspaper. Couple more passes. Well, for what I want this to cut, that should cut pretty well. The ripe tomato test. Let's see what it does. Good enough for me.
That was a paper thin slice there.
How's it do on bread? No crumbs. Here, have a piece.
Thank you.
Cuts pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
That's ripe too.
Cool.